Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark, and today we have an app developer, not to sell you stuff in order to build your own app, but for a really cool app that she's developed. So before we get started and I introduce her, I want to remind you guys this coming Friday, we have our monthly training. Monthly trainings are always free. You can show up, watch the presentation, ask questions. It really is an interactive event. Our guest this week is Anthony Jones, and Anthony is a LinkedIn specialist. And we're really excited to have him because, LinkedIn is part of building that platform when you have an expert book. So if you want to sign up, it's at 9 a.m. March 7th, and you can sign up at bamagtraining.com. That's bamagtraining.com. So I hope to see you there because we get so much from these trainings. People just learn a lot of tips and tricks, and they're introduced with ethical experts, which I know out in the coaching world, you really have to be careful who you connect with. So today's guest is Mitzi Campbell, and Mitzi has spent over 30 years in education. She is a mindset specialist on a mission to raise the consciousness of humanity through big talk, deep conversation, and one good morning motivational text message at a time. Her dynamic skills in the areas of academia, psychology, and nonprofit leadership and the creative arts inform her life story in continuous, priceless, and powerful ways and allow her to impact and uplift others with divine sincerity. Mitzi is the creator and host of the Blessons Podcast, where she uses her platform to connect humanity and inspire personal growth and self-discovery for the good of all. So stay tuned to hear more about this app that Mitzi's developed because it is really cool. Welcome, Mitzi. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Juliet. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I first of all want to correct the record, you guys. I believe I called this an app in the intro. It's really text messaging. So I want to get that out of the way right away. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here.
Oh boy, it's been quite a roller coaster. Well, I have historically, professionally been a teacher and a college professor my entire life. I am a mom of three. I am divorced. And so it's been quite a roller coaster ride my whole life, to get to the point now in my 50s where I feel like I'm finally me again. I'm looking out for me. And I don't have as many responsibilities to others, as I had with being a mother and being a wife and all that. And so the shift from academia into entrepreneurship has been one of the most exciting and the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And it's just been an interesting journey that way. And I'm just I've opened my mind up to an entirely different world, and I've met so many wonderful people. And I just feel like it's a testimony to that it's never too late. It is every day truly is a new opportunity to start fresh, to do things differently, to look back at your life and say, what's something I've always wanted to do? Great,
Mhm.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that one today. And it's funny. I even know someone who keeps a list. She calls it a bucket list, but really it's just a list of things she wants to do. And every time she has a free day or she knows that she's able to take a trip, she'll go to her list and she'll just choose something off of the list and do it. And I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing now. I'm just choosing from the list of my dreams and following them.
Yeah, no, actually, I did that many, many years ago. I had a bunch of frequent flyer points. I literally took out a map of the US, closed my eyes, and pointed. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was fun. And I went by myself, and I that was the beginning of learning to travel by myself after something had happened. So, yeah,
Yep.
it is really cool. And I want to address the two that I sort of had the same journey with entrepreneurship. And it's hard after a divorce because you're finding yourself again. And that's exactly that. I always wanted to write a book. I needed something to fill time. So that's where I ended up writing my first book. So you almost have to find that real you to be an entrepreneur. because everybody's looking for authenticity too.
That's true. I just had this conversation with someone this morning that when you are doing whatever you're doing professionally, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're working in a business, or whatever it is you're doing, you're bringing your whole self with you. And so the deeper that you can get to know yourself, the more that you are willing to engage in self-awareness,
Mhm.
the better it is for everyone who comes into contact with you, and the more that you can show up authentically as yourself. A lot of us don't even, I think it's one of the most common misconceptions is that we know ourselves. We just think automatically we know ourselves because we are ourselves, but
Mhm.
very few people actually know themselves.
Well,
Self-awareness is kind of an interesting thing.
yeah, I was just going to say it is very interesting because, I look at a lot of people who tell you they're very self-aware, and I find that those people are the least self-aware.
Yeah.
So I do get what you're saying. The other thing I see all the time when you talk about this is I will have clients bring me a project and they'll take a stand, but I'll immediately see that this thing that they have brought me that they want to teach other people is something that they haven't quite healed in themselves. I see that a lot
Oh my gosh, I
where,
bet you do. Because that's what people are writing about. Because
yes,
writing is really a healing process, isn't it? I've written so many things and over the years, and I've got drafts of things I've never published just because it was about working through something for myself. But it
yeah.
really is, I think if you're called to write something, it is because there is someone out there who needs to hear it in some way.
Yeah, I think that too, but I sort of have a similar theory about what you're talking about. I think writer's block is all about you decide to write this book, and God, universe, whoever you believe in, says, "Yeah, you got this, girl." And then in the middle, that same entity will come back and say, I really need you to heal something before we move forward. And that has happened with every single book I've written. It is a healing journey. So, and I think once you start healing that, the writer's block goes away too.
Yeah. So it's like the book is the vehicle that brings to light what needs to be healed.
Yeah, exactly. And for some people, I mean, I do know people, they'll write affirmations. I kind of feel sometimes like those affirmations are avoidance of, oh, if I just tell myself this, I don't have to heal it. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely. That's part of the process. I talk about this I have this, I actually own a word. The word is blessings, and it's the name of my podcast, but it means blessings and lessons. And I have it trademarked, and I feel like there is a process we go through with life lessons. You are become aware of a lesson because of going over an experience in your mind. You analyze it, you figure out what the lesson was. You say you've learned the lesson, and then we kind of just go on with our lives, but we forget about that last part, which is now you have to change something about yourself. You have to transform because of the lesson that you now understand. Like that's the part that people just skip over. And then what happens is you keep getting the same lessons in life over and over again because you're not
Yeah.
changing. You have to change.
Right. And I think too, the other thing that happens with that is I've learned my lesson, then it comes up again, and you go to this extreme
Mm,
because you didn't heal it. So, oh, I'm going to try something new. And it's so extreme, it's not going to work either. You truly have to get in there and do the work.
you do.
And so that you come to a moderate solution. And I
Right.
know people like that it's like, wow, how do we go from there to there? So it's
Yeah.
interesting. So you developed this text messaging system, and I loved it because I feel like so many people during COVID, they're isolated. There's just not a lot of connectivity, and I don't know that we ever really recovered from that.
Yeah.
Ergo, there's a lot of loneliness out there. And I think social media has done the same thing from us. So talk about how did you decide to develop this and what is it?
Thank you. Yes. So I came up with the concept of your positive moment, daily motivational text messages, because my father every morning sends out a text message to me and my sister, and then to all of his grandchildren. And in the morning, we all get this. When we first wake up, it says, "Good morning, I love you." And then it has some kind of a motivational message for the day, affirmation, something interesting. My dad is famous for saying, "Every day is an opportunity." So something like that, that really just gets your morning started, off on the right note. And I got to thinking, my dad is getting older. He's 83. He's not going to be around forever. If he forgets to hit send on that message, everybody freaks out. Where's granddad? Where's the message? You know, and I just had this epiphany, like the role that this message has played in my life and how it has shaped my mindset and how much it gets me started off on a positive note every single day, and then how it directs my mind toward things that are going to make my life better. It's just kind of crazy the way that something so simple can compound in your life and stack up and add up to a whole paradigm. And so I thought, well, I want to do this for other people. And just like you said, I thought about the people out there who don't have anyone who says good morning to them, who don't have anyone who says I love you to them ever, who aren't connected. And I wanted this message to be for people who want to wake up, are going to look at their phone anyway, and want to see something come in from a real human being. It's not, I do not use AI to write these messages. I write them myself.
Mhm.
And it's genuinely from my heart. And it's a way of letting people know in the morning, A, good morning, you are loved. Every message says that. An affirmation for the day. And then I take it a step further. I give people something to think about, something that they can plant a seed in their mind that will just live there and help them to have a reflection, something that they can kind of fall back on as something that's empowering, something that's going to make them see like the good in the bad, the light in the darkness, humanity, faith in humanity, that kind of thing. And then the last thing I have, which we just kind of were talking about, is an action, because we know from the James Clear book, Atomic Habits, and other research on habit forming, is that you have to consistently perform these behaviors every single day. And they have to be moving through your body from thought into behavior so that you're actually like making the mind body connection. So that's what I've done. I've created this thing that I'm hoping is going to be a movement that kind of shifts the consciousness in that way. I can see just like millions of people waking up to this and talking about it. Oh, did you get your message this morning? I got my message. This is what mine said. Because depending on when you sign up for it, you're going to have a different message. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, that's it. And I'm super excited about it because I think it can really have a massive positive impact. And that's what I want to do for the world.
Yes, and I think it gives people a morning routine as
Yes.
well because that's probably one of the things I developed to be more successful is I'm going to start my day like this every day, meditation. And then I even created my own journal for my clients and authors and that I write in. So it starts people with that morning routine as well. And anybody who knows when you get out of bed and the day starts bad, it just it keeps it up. So this is a
Right.
good way to start the day. I must say, I'm very impressed that your father knows how to text because I used to have to tell my mother all the time, like, why are you yelling at me? Because, she'd get the caps button on,
Apps.
you see your sister. Why are you yelling at me about my sister?
Oh, so true. Yeah, no, my dad is very good with technology. He embraces it. He's kind of mastered it, so it's good.
So, do you have a goal of how many people you want on this? What is your goal? Tell us your big, juicy goal so
Okay.
everybody listening can hold you to it.
My goal for 2025 is to get 100,000 people using this.
Wow.
I
So,
want,
I'm gonna,
it's
okay.
big, but I mean, I can see it. Like I can see it. I can see the 100,000 people. It was just the number that kind of came to me. Like I can see that happening, and realistically in 2025, that's my goal, to get it to 100,000 users.
So, what's your marketing strategy for this? Because I mean, you guys listening, she's just not randomly like, hey, can I be on your show and talk about that? That's not how this is going to get done. So,
No,
what's your
yeah. Well, I
marketing?
started working on this one person at a time. I mean, when it was in the kind of beta testing, that's how I was doing it, one person at a time. I did use paid ads. I'm still using paid ads. And I'm always working on that strategy, because wouldn't it be great if you just found an ad that was just going to be the one that hits? And I think that's possible. So I'm working on that. But what I'm doing now is developing an affiliate program. So I will be, and I'm not opening it up for application necessarily, although I may in the future. But for now, I am asking specific people who I know personally, who are in the motivational space, the positivity space, who I think really align with my mission and also who have large audiences. So that if I can get them to put it in their newsletter, make one social media post about it, people who have the ability to, if only a small percentage of their audience signs on, they have the
Mhm.
ability then to bring in a monthly recurring revenue, because most affiliates it's just, you sell one product, you get one commission. In my
Mhm.
case, it's going to be monthly commission. And the I guess the tool that I'm, or I guess the fishing pole that I'm putting out there, as I speak to people about partnering with me, is that if you had 100,000 followers, 100,000 connections, 100,000 emails, and only 5% of them signed up, what that would mean is that you would be getting about $14,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. So from a business perspective, like, and I'm looking at this as a business person, it's the kind of thing that's a win-win. Like that's what I'm all about. I want things to be beneficial to everyone involved. Like when I first started it, the text message service, I wanted it to be accessible to everyone, and it's still at a very accessible price point. But now I have grown it so that I can bring other people in on that, and I can do well, they can do well, and the people who are receiving the messages are getting something that's like moving the needle in their lives, taking them to the next level mindset wise. So I don't know. I think that I'm really proud of the way it's coming together. Like I feel like it's good. It's not one of those things that you feel like, oh, am I being salesy? Do I feel guilty about this? I don't at
Uh-huh.
all. Like it's just a beautiful thing. So yeah, that's how it's playing out right now. And that's my latest strategy. And I am completely open to other ideas as I grow. I do have already some plans to grow it into other spaces. So right now it's kind of for everyone.
Mhm.
Um, but I am in the process of developing a text message service specifically for teens, where the language would be a little bit, more hip. I don't even know if you say hip. I guess I'm gonna need someone to translate into teen
I
speak.
was going to say, I don't think hip is a word like that's an us.
But you know
Cool.
what
I
I'm
do think
saying. You
it's
can't
cool
send
all
the
the
same
time.
message to a teenager that you could send to, like, me or you. So
Well,
we're
exactly. Like
done.
if you've ever tried to fist bump a child, they're like, that's like
They're like, Mom, don't
so,
do that.
so when I was 5. You don't want that reaction.
Yeah. I've had my kids say that, Mom, don't say that.
Yeah, exactly,
Mom.
exactly. You guys, you probably will believe this, but my kids, when I tell jokes, because I tell dirty jokes, they'll be like, "Mom," like,
I love it.
wow. So you also have a podcast too. Tell us about your podcast.
Yes, thank you. It is called the Blessons Podcast, and it is a place where I like to have deep conversations about the experiences of life that lead to those lessons that I was talking about. And it's the word blessings comes from the combination of blessings and lessons. And so I just bring people on and we talk about what they're most passionate about and how they have evolved in their lives based on their experiences and how they have allowed those experiences to inform their growth. And yeah, it's really cool. I've had some, you know, I guess minor celebrities on, and also just a lot of regular people who have had amazing stories and experiences. Like people I have one woman that comes to mind that one of my best conversations, she has been living with stage 4 lung cancer for many years, and
Mhm.
she is doing great, and she talks about it, how it's affected her, and she talked about childhood trauma in that episode and how that has, you know, had to do with why she got sick in the first place and the connection with that. It's just so interesting. And then I've talked to a woman who is an expert in multiple sclerosis, Dr. Terry Wells. She's very famous. She has a TED Talk with like 10 million views. And she also talked about the connection between childhood trauma and disease. And so, like, you can talk to people from all walks of life and be validated. And that's like what I love about just having these kinds of conversations with people. Like, I'm just all about the positivity, the raising of the consciousness of humanity. Like I think we just have opportunities every day to transform our lives, to transform ourselves, and to make the world a better place because we make ourselves better. Like it starts with the self for me, and then it ripples outwards like this butterfly effect.
Yeah, I love that. We have an author who is supposedly in a divorce book, but she starts with, okay, if your partner won't come, you come, transform yourself into what you want to be. And if he's there for the journey, great. If he's not there for the journey, that's okay too. So I think that is the key to changing. Where can we find this amazing text at? Where do we have to go to sign up?
You have to go to yourpositivemoment.com and you can sign up right there. You start out with a 2-week free trial so you can really experience it and make sure that you feel it's a good fit for you. And
Mhm.
then after that, you just get these messages every single day. And I get them myself every morning. And it is just a really cool way to start your day. I'll show you mine from this morning.
Is there a way to gift these to someone? Like
Yes,
if you
you
know
can
somebody?
gift
Yeah.
them. You can gift them, and it just looks like a regular text message. I have mine on dark mode, but it just comes in like a regular text. Like today, my affirmation is strive for progress, not perfection. And it's so interesting. Even I wrote that but I got it for myself. And it's interesting because it's the words that come to you when they come because they're supposed to come. Like I needed to hear that. But
Yeah.
it's different when it comes in from a text because it's like I'm actually writing that to you. And it's different from when you go into an app. That's why I wanted it to be a text message and not an app. I don't want people to have to go to it. I don't want you to have to open up an app to find it. I want it to be there when you get up and it's the first thing you see. So you're not going to look at the news. You're not going to read your emails and see who needs something from you. You're
Right.
not somebody with a problem that needs your help. It's something that's just somebody out there in the world, me actually, is giving you this in the morning. Hey, here's something for you. Connect to me. Think about this. Do this today if you can. And just go about the rest of your day then. Just let it go. And that's when we get what we want, when we detach from the outcome.
Yes.
Like you just mentioned with your friend and if your husband doesn't want to do it, that's fine. You do it. Because if you detach, if you just allow something to come into your experience and then you let it go, that's when
Hmm.
the magic happens. And I mean, I have specific examples from my life of when I've, quote, manifested things. And that's exactly what I've done. It's whenever you try to force it that it doesn't happen as easily. So that's what this is meant to be. It's just meant to be a sort of subliminal tool that you use to move your life into the realm where you want to be.
Yeah, that's so great. So you guys go over to yourpositivemoment.com and get this for yourself or for a friend. If you have a friend that's been a little depressed lately, we just had a swearing in yesterday. I'm recording this in January. Maybe you got a liberal friend who's a little bummed, give it to him. So thank you so much for being on, Mitzi, and good luck.
I love it.